All right, Cyber Traders, welcome on back and good afternoon to all this Monday, July 18th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Welcome on back here for our afternoon meeting. Hopefully, a bunch of us rejoining us live inside our trading room. I know after we finished up the morning audio commentary, after we finished up the Phase 2 stock course from earlier today, it was really lackluster heading into the early afternoon, the late morning. So, with that, things are definitely pretty exciting right now in the market. Not for the right reasons. Markets are dropping off right now. They have been across the afternoon, beginning to fill the gap. Or at this point, I should say they've completed the gap from the weekend. So great to see Michael, Ron, Leda, Lewis, all of our longtime students with us here. Welcome on back if you are joining us on social media, Facebook Live or YouTube. So, folks, I had said before we started the Phase 2 stock course just earlier today. We are continuing that this afternoon at 3:05 Eastern Time. The second lesson across the July Phase 2 stock course. We're going to really look to dig further into level 3, the ECN book. Just do basically live market interacting with level 3, the matrix here. And then also we'll look to introduce officially for the Phase 2 course, level 4. Book map. So it's really kind of a free flow based class. We're going to focus more on shorting. So actually, for the sake of this afternoon's class, hopefully there's a little bit more continuation on the way down. We ended up seeing the SPY begin to kind of just drop off from support. And it really, once it started to kind of pull back here at this point, I got back to my desk, I guess, at a decent time. Like, I'm not even up a lot of money, or I wasn't heading into the position here. So I wasn't expecting a whole lot. Normally, this time of the day is very slow and not really the best time in general to like hunt for trades. But when I saw the SPY turn over, I'm like, all right, well, let's see what's out there. Maybe a couple of short opportunities. And I wrote it right away inside the live trading room. I said Neo short under the VWAP. And from there, it was complete perfect timing. It doesn't always crumble that way. The cookie doesn't always crumble that way. But you see the line on my chart. Once this rebroke below 2150 and the VWAP 2145, I ended up jumping in short on Neo. And from that point, it was an absolute landslide where it ended up dropping all the way down towards 21. Well, at this point, the SPY is obviously dropping a little bit lower as we're talking, but the bigger talking point, this is the price that you got to keep your eye on for right now. Obviously, there's more than just one price level to watch for the SPY, but in terms of a more short local level to watch, that actually is the close from last week, from Friday last week, the 15th, 385.13. Well, it broke under it. It moved up to it. And as you could obviously see, support initially became resistance. So, we were kind of talking about that in the Phase 2 course earlier this morning. We'll reiterate that heading into the close. For right now, let's just go from top to bottom. Obviously, markets are dropping off here, so I'm sure we'll hunt for some short opportunities just as we go down the losers list. But let's start right from the top for any of the other movers that we caught from earlier today. We'll briefly recap them. I wish I could sit here and tell you that I jumped in on the ILAG from the get-go, because if I did, then, well, honestly, I tell you what, if I didn't if I did jump into ILAG, I would have finished up my day a little bit earlier. I don't think I would have been on that Neo trade. So either way, I was able to at least walk away with some good money there. Hey, if you ended up hitting it early on the ILAG, early after the market opened, you had no need to continue trading. Right? So if you're able to hit your day's pay on this just on one trade alone, one or two trades, at that point, what's the point of just trying to like hunt and really, shoot for the try and hit the home runs? More often than not, if you keep trying to hit the home runs and they're not coming your way, you're going to squander away a lot of that profit. So that's where I'd said before, I missed out on this ILAG, but with that, I was still looking for my day's pay and I got it on that Neo. But for right now, the ILAG trade here, this thing is not worth watching for the afternoon. The only hope that you would have is to see it just bounce off support here, which, hey, former resistance roughly off of 335, 334-ish. That should be support the first time. It hasn't really done much since. So, right now, I'm not fully convinced on this ILAG new IPO back from last week. It already squeezed up a lot from the morning. So, just given the drop off, let's just see what else is out there. QD, same thing. As news came out on this from pre-market, ended up leading to a nice little slingshot after the open to where it had pulled back towards 175 and made a nice pop from there. But from that point, the wheels fell off on this one pretty quickly. I'm sure the wheels could fall off very quickly on SKYX. It looks like they're already starting to. Ended up running up beautifully from like mid-afternoon time, right around 450 when it broke that resistance. Pushed up just about $1, right? From 450 up to 550 basically. And from there, had it pulled back down a slight amount. So just given how illiquid the order book is here for this afternoon's meeting, I'm not particular about this SKYX just yet. If it ends up showing better signs of life after this meeting, then I'm sure we'll revisit it, but let's see what else is out there in the meantime. Mara, M-A-R-A, this will likely be on our side list for the remainder of this week, just given the volume it traded today. But these Bitcoin crypto mining affiliated stocks, they go with the stock market, like the Dow, the S&P, regardless. And then otherwise, even if those begin to push up, it's not a guarantee that Mara is going to have the same type of volatility it had from this morning. So these crypto miners like Riot, Mara, even SOS here, Hut, over the years we've been following these. Obviously, Coinbase the biggest at this point, but it's to say that those crypto mining affiliated stocks do not make afternoon moves. So, for right now, I'm going to hold off on them. I'm sure I'll be wrong with that assessment at some point in time, but I'll tell you what, for the last 2 years at this point, I've been pretty head on with that. Those stocks have always teased us, Riot and Mara, as far as the afternoon moves that they could potentially make. So definitely at this point, going to pass on it. Maybe 315, potentially revisit it, but for right now, we'll see if there's anything looking better. Coinbase, we'll just quickly look at, but one of the crypto affiliated stocks, obviously, coming down to support off of 60. I mean, hey, very tradable, very liquid, although the order book doesn't represent that. This stock is trading 16 to 17 million shares right now, and that's a lot of volume traded across the day for any stock that we typically look to call out here. So, hey, Coinbase is tradable, but if it was a little less expensive, I'd definitely be about it. TAL here, pretty slow. I'm going to pass on this for right now. Let's see what's on the loser side here for right now, folks. I mean, because I'll tell you, I don't think we wrote down a single stock on the main list. I said I'd come back to, perhaps the SKYX or perhaps like the ILAG if need be, but I didn't write down anything yet. That's not good. So I'm sure we'll find some side list stocks to work with, like the NEOs, the AMCs. I know AMC obviously had a great morning today, or at least up until the market drop off. I need to get my price column out here, I reckon. There we go. All right, what else we got here? Anything looking shortable, easy to borrow, something that we could use as a nice case study for class this afternoon. Hmm? This looks good. CLAR took a huge hit heading into the early afternoon from 2150 all the way down to 1960-ish. But man, this thing is getting beat up right now. Big drop off here. I wish the order book was a little more liquid, but it's trading a lot of volume per minute right now. So I don't mind this, at least putting this on our main list. But you got to be really careful on this type of trade, just given the spread and the lack of liquidity out there. So CLAR, shortable. It's at the lows. Want to see if this is approaching all-time lows here, which you could tell it's not. Ended up having a huge run up over the last, like 6-7 years. This thing would have made a great swing over time. But, it's not at historical lows. If anything, it's getting pretty close towards support that we had right around $18. You could see on the weekly some lows there, and the opens on a lot of those bars were right over 18. So $18 right around there should be a big support level for CLAR. All right, we got AVXL down big right now. Where's Lita for this? She's probably thinking I'm going to put this on our list. I'll tell you what, it's looking all right as far as a trend. I have a joke with a lot of our longtime students inside our classes and trading room. This was the first stock that kicked my ass back like 8 years ago when I was a complete rookie. I lost like $800 within a blink of an eye. My jaws to the ground. That was the last time up until a few years ago I started trading. That was the last time up until a few years ago I was trading 1,000 shares. So that was like in 2015. So since then, I have not been too particular about AVXL, the stock. More often than not, it's been untradeable, like not tradable in total. Right now, though, it's down big. Liquidity is a little thin, but at least the spreads are a hell of a lot tighter compared to that CLAR. So you know what? I am going to put AVXL on our watch list here. Just it's got very thin volume though, so I'd really want to look at level 4 coming up and see if there's any bigger support coming up off 11. Got ADMA. The stock actually is shortable and at the lows of the day, but I'm not that particular about like the cheapies to look to short because unless if they're really moving fast, it's just not going to be worth the opportunity cost. There's so many better stocks out there that we haven't even looked at yet. So, I'm sure we'll find some stocks that go with the market, whether up or down, and we'll likely focus on those across the afternoon. Yeah, that's all I got across the loser side. I'm sure there is a lot more up and down percentage wise too. But at this stage, let's just check out Neo. I mean, it's just dropping off right now. We know at least it trades relatively good for the price. There are some other $21, $25 stocks that are like watching the grass grow. That's not the type of stock you'd want to follow here heading into this afternoon. This, to a good degree, is. So I'm going to slip Neo on our main list. I'm sure the airlines are tradable, and they usually are. Moving a little slow though. UAL steadily dropping off, right? I mean, it could be a good short. If there's anything that looks really strong up or most notably down here, folks, just type it in the chat board here. Let me know. Penn National Gaming had a pretty good day yesterday. Just wanted to check that out briefly. It's at the lows right now. AMC is hard to borrow. I didn't request personally to see if I can get shares, but I'd assume it's impossible. But for right now, I mean, this is just volatile. If the markets make a strong bounce, then this could be a nice trade to look at. But I'm going to keep this on the side at least for the meantime here, folks. Got Neo, got CLAR, AVXL. The first, or I should say, the last two of those are shorts. Neo is going to be one that's going to be likely dependent upon which way the market goes heading into the next 80 minutes. BOXD trade. That was one that we said we'd at least come back to, and that now looks a lot better. So BOXD we'll put on our list here too. It's up 26+%. Norman wrote in the chat board just a bit earlier. So, at the time it was starting to push, now looking a lot better. Thankfully, this at least is good for us. EVTL. Whoa, this one ended up just snapping right back on up. At the time it ended up squeezing up here. This was one I was also in. I was in right from the 550 price. I'd called out, I'm looking for a pop and run over 550. Just a little tip, folks. If you ever see me say I'm looking for something, I'm in it. I'm going to be in it in a matter of seconds, or I'm already. So, from here ended up leading to a pretty nice squeeze. I got out at 569, so I took 19-cent profit. Ended up peaking up a little bit more, and for right now, there still seems to be some more opportunity on this trade. So yeah, EVTL looks great. We'll put BOXD, both of those on the top of our watch list for right now. CLNN. CLNN from Friday last week, from Thursday of last week as well, trying to run back up, trading nearly 4 million shares total right now. I mean, it's up over 8%. Doesn't hurt us to put this on our list at this point. Do I have one more for us? Do I have a hat trick here for me? I think that just about wraps it up from my side here, folks. Last one from me, and it doesn't look good. You could just tell right away the red box trade. I'm trying to squeak up a slight amount, but not a whole lot to it there. Michael says SIGA might do an over and then back under 14. True. Yeah, I like that. Good call. SIGA, I'm going to put on our list. It was one from the morning that dropped off quite a bit. We had our eyes on this in the phase 2 course earlier today, had anticipated the drop off, the short from 15. It was smooth sailing since. For anyone that missed out on the phase 2 course, the recording of that should be on the student dashboard by this afternoon, if not right now. So I'm sure that you could just check that out in a matter of a couple of hours. But not a bad call though, Mike, especially if 14 could continue to hold. So looks a little slow, but I don't mind slipping SIGA on our list as a potential short. Jeff says actually getting AMC shares upon request at least this morning. Oh, this morning. So for early bird gets the shares, Jeffrey. I talked about that in our paid class earlier today. Hey, if you can get it 8:30, 9 o'clock Eastern time, you're a step ahead of everyone else. But at this point right now, if you were able to get it from the morning, that is not a guarantee that you're able to get it at this time. And plus, again, folks, for a stock that is going to be a short, you'd want to follow it that's a lot closer to the lows of the day. SIGA, a lot closer to the lows of the day there compared to AMC. NEO, I guess technically still has a ways to go to the technical low of the day, but after that initial squeeze up, there's not much support aside from pre-market. They're off 21, preventing it from dropping a lot further. So, NEO looks a lot stronger in its downtrend, but otherwise, unless if the stock is near the highs or near the lows, looking for a breakout up or breakdown lower, respectively, I like this list for the meantime, folks. The SIGA, the CLNN, EVTL, NEO, BOXD, AVXL, and CLAR. I'll type that list, obviously, to all of us here in the coming moments. From YouTube, from Dan, asking about the AFRM trade. So really quickly, let's jump to AFRM. It's just a sideless stock. I mean, if it was dropping off a lot closer to those lows around that 2370, which you can definitively see it peeled back down first before, this is a real support to work off of, I'd say, right around there. Good sideless stock. If you do well on AFRM day to day, just like if Jeffrey does well on AMC day to day, I am certain that he is more inclined to put it on his personal watch list. All right, folks, but aside from that, I think that we have a pretty decent list heading into this afternoon. So unless if there is a stock that you are nailing more often than not and to a great degree, I would seriously look to start and stick with this watch list here as I'm typing it out to all of us live inside the trading room. For all of us on Facebook Live, YouTube, I appreciate you folks sticking with me each and every day, each and every afternoon, back in our normal seats here, at least going forward. So I know that Fausto should be back in come tomorrow morning for the remainder of this week. Any questions that you have, send over to my email address, josh@ctutrading.com. Any questions, thoughts, comments, suggestions, please let me know. And then otherwise, for Jeffrey, Michael, Norman, Leda, and for all of us live inside the trading room, I look forward to seeing most of us in class in the Phase 2 stock course coming up at 3:05 Eastern Time. For any one of us not joining me in class, best of luck trading here heading into the market close. Talk to you soon.
Become a Cyber Group member today. Just click the link below and receive all these amazing products and a world of knowledge for just $9.